Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast, episode number 58, Buckmasters with Jackie Bushman. Big Buck Registry is a virtual museum of hunting stories. We preserve a piece of Americana by interviewing and recording hunters about their hunts and experiences from across the country. And who knows, maybe we'll learn a thing or two along the way that'll help us take our hunt to the next level.
Hey y'all, Pat Hogan of North American Whitetail. Another morning, another traffic jam down here in Atlanta, Georgia. But I tell you what, we're about 6 weeks away from the start of bow season, and that's got me thinking about Western Kentucky. We'll be down there hunting with Mark Clifford at Premier Outfitters for, I think, the 4th year in a row this year, and I can't wait to get back. If you guys are looking for a great way to start the season or a great way to finish it, there's nothing like Western Kentucky when it comes to bow hunting. Check out Mark at Premier Outfitters.
Hi, this is Sean Lupkel with Heartland Bowhunter.
Hey, this is Michael Huntucker with Heartland Bowhunter.
And you're listening to my favorite podcast on iTunes, the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Jay Scott, your host of the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast. Thank you for joining us. And we have somebody else joining us right now. It's Dusty Phillips, our field correspondent from Ohio. What's happening, Dusty?
Not a whole lot. Just another beautiful day here in Ohio.
Yeah?
And we're getting jacked up about whitetail season that's just around the corner.
You sent me that giant buck picture today. Is that just one you pulled off the internet to make me feel bad, or is that one you actually pulled off of your own game camera?
No, it's just the one I was kind of rubbing your butt about a little bit. You know, you sent me this spike, so I had to send something giant back.
Of course. See, I always thought it would be funny if you, like, just as a prank to your buddies, you went out and took the SD cards out of your buddy's game camera if you knew how to get in there, if it's not locked up, or if you had a key. And you pull it out, you put in a bunch of pictures of some massive deer, and then just see what happens. That would probably get... Because you know you could do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that I'm thinking now, I mean, I'm going to make this happen. You just sparked this great idea in my head.
I've created a monster.
I think my brother, sorry, Matt, my brother is going to have an SD card loaded. I got the best woods around.
Isn't that the same guy we picked on before?
Yeah, absolutely. You know.
And you sure love your brother.
I'm gonna hook him up. A couple 170, 180 inch deer.
Absolutely, yeah.
Some 220s are gonna show up in there, you know. And I kind of know the general area where his trail cam's at, so I think I can find pictures that's got like the same type of grass in the background.
Right.
And he's gonna be like, "Oh my God!" He'll call me as soon as he gets. He'll call me.
You won't believe it.
Yeah, I got monsters out there. There are monsters in the woods.
I'm gonna win the deer pool this year, Dusty.
Absolutely, you know.
That's awesome.
It could be a great prank. If you do that, let us know.
Yeah, that's a good prank. What's going on at Chubby Tines Outdoors?
Yeah, just a lot of activity happening in the woods. You know, we're seeing some awesome pictures, and we do a new thing called the hit list for 2014. And
nice,
man, we're seeing some nice bucks coming in. And, you know, everybody's starting to get the itchy trigger finger or release finger, whatever you want to call it. And I think it's starting to get the blood pumping when people's looking at their trail cameras.
Nice. We've been doing the hit list on the Big Buck, too. The game cameras kind of make that happen. Like, you don't even have to say hit list. You know that's what's happening. If they're sending in a picture, it's good. It's a good thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You know, just starting to see a lot more activity. People are starting to get on and talk a little bit of hunting, and they're starting to get back in the groove of finding their favorite hunting pages and get in contact with everybody and just see what's going on in other places. You know, they know what they got going. It's almost like a preseason pattern type technique.
Right. Yeah. I think they're starting to kind of, I've had a lot of people start talking about the season already, more so than they were earlier in the summer. And
oh yeah.
Just, I think that the temperature's changing some. So you're starting to get some cool nights and people are saying, hey, this is awesome. It's starting to feel like the fall kind of thing.
Yeah. You're starting to feel it. It's a natural, your body just starts adjusting to, hey, you know, season's not far around the corner. Maybe I ought to get this mineral out. Maybe I ought to get a little feed out if you're able to feed your deer herd.
Right.
Maybe I ought to start doing some things. Maybe I ought to start checking my stands and seeing what's going on out there. You and that's starting to happen. It's for sure starting to happen. I'm getting texts daily of guys going out saying that they're getting in the woods and they're checking out their setups and doing a little bit of trimming. We talked last time not to over groom your tree stand area. That sets you up for a big fail.
Right. I'm looking forward to the Chubby Tines tip of the week this week, by the way.
Yeah, it's going to be another good tip of the week, and hopefully, somebody takes the tips and makes something happen at their setup.
Very cool. I really want to read this letter that I got from Mark Simon. And I asked him if I could share his letter that he sent in. And this is just to describe the power of a podcast, especially ours. I got this letter from Mark, and he says, he writes, my hometown bow shop, Plum Creek Archery in Dyersville, Iowa, recently had a grand reopening celebration. They brought in a country duet to perform and hand out prizes. When I arrived, I saw the picture of the country music duet act, and they had another picture of a giant buck, one of them harvested last fall, and this is when I put it all together. It was Carrie and Billy. I felt like I knew Billy Arnold from listening to your podcast. Billy was very approachable before his show, and I approached him and hollered, hey, I just listened to you on the Big Buck podcast last week. He had great things to say about you guys, and before long, we were sharing deer stories, and he was showing me his trail cam pics. He also told me how his buck didn't get crowned the record buck of Tennessee because he used illuminated nocks. What a bummer. That's too bad. Anyway, what a small world. Thought you would enjoy that story. I just started listening to your podcast last month. When people see me jogging down the street with my MP3 player, the last thing they probably think I'm listening to is a podcast about deer hunting. Isn't that funny?
That is hilarious. That is absolutely most last thing that would pop in my head to see somebody jogging down the road too.
Right. But isn't that amazing? Here we are in different parts of the world, different parts of the country, and we've connected Billy Arnold with Mark Simon, who's hanging out at his local archery shop just one day. And there they are, and he's felt like he knows this guy just because we interviewed him.
That's crazy, ain't it?
That's the best.
That is the best. It's totally awesome, and we appreciate you sending that letter in.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mark. So who do we have on the show today, Dusty?
Oh, man. Jackie Bushman.
Whoa, the Jackster. That's awesome. Jackie Bushman from Buckmasters.
Yeah, how sweet is that? What a legend. What a guy that does some great things for the industry, and if you're not familiar with Buckmasters, check them out.
Buckmasters has been a name that has resonated in the hunting industry, deer hunting industry, for some time now. He's created an empire. He's created a great name for himself. I remember watching Buckmasters TV shows way back, and talk about somebody that has just formed the industry. I mean, he is a godfather in this industry, much like Ted Nugent would be. Just amazing gentleman.
Yeah, absolutely. And what an honor it is to have Jackie join us right here on the podcast.
Let's get him on, man.
Absolutely.
Jackie Bushman, welcome to the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast.
Appreciate it. Glad to be with you.
Well, we're psyched to have you. This is an honor to have you on our show. We have a tremendous amount of respect for you and your organization, and I know all of our audience is going to be thrilled to listen to this show.
Well, we've been doing this thing a long time, Jay. I mean, I think going on 29 years is what somebody told me. I was afraid to ask, but I was a tennis professional. That's what I used to do. I made a living teaching tennis. I played professional back in the 70s and got to about top 125 in the world, and you couldn't make any money back at 125 in the world. You had to be in top 30. But now, if you're top 125 in the world, you make some good money. But
right.
But I got a chance. I had a contact. I was running a professional tournament here in Montgomery, and then I was doing a tournament with my dad called the Blue Gray, and the person that was basically sponsoring the tournament was Perry Mendel. He was the founder of KinderCare Corporation, and he asked me what I wanted to do besides hit tennis balls to kids and old ladies the rest of my life, and I said, well, Ray Scott is a good friend of mine who started the Bassmasters, who's here also from. He's also from Montgomery, Alabama, and his sons and daughters were a part of Auburn University with fraternity brothers, and his daughter was a sweetheart of our fraternity, so we were just good friends, and I watched what he did with the Bassmasters, and I just wanted to do something very similar to the Bassmasters and do it to the deer hunting twist. So Mr. Mendel was nice enough to put up the money, and it was basically up to me to make it go. And we first started out, because we had no magazine. It's kind of, in fact, Deer and Deer Hunting was our first magazine. I had a hat and a bottle of Tinks, Tink 69, and a sticker, and I wrote a newsletter that I stuck in the subscription of Deer and Deer Hunting magazine, believe it or not, for 1 year. And
is that right? Interesting.
Yeah. So, and then they made a decision to go on and start the Buckmasters magazine in 1987. And once we got started, we were kind of off to the races. But since I didn't have a magazine, I didn't have much circulation, we started with a promotional event. And I guess that's where the tennis part of me, I was running tournaments and this and that. I just switched it over to the outdoor side of a promotional event. And we had a deal called the Buckmasters Classic, which we did that for 15 years. And it was basically done very similar to the NBC Superstars event, where you had different events and different athletes, whether it was swimming or track or this or that. Well, I just spun that around, and I had Buckmaster members, outdoor writers, and various celebrities, whether it was Bo Jackson or Dale Earnhardt or Davey Allison, Jeff Foxworthy, Jim Varney. I mean, I could go on and on about all the celebrities we had. And they basically came into the Southern Sportsman's Hunting Lodge, which was just west of Montgomery, my hometown here. And we had hatchet throwing, knife throwing, skeet shooting, rifle shooting, bow shooting. We had an obstacle course. We had bow and arrow golf, and everybody was on a team. And they did all these events, and then you would have a winner. But the guys were there hunting, also 3 or 4 days, and we had fan day on Saturday where everybody did the event. So that's really what got Buckmasters on the map as far as, it was the Bo Knows era, Bo knows. And,
right.
Bo was down there, shot the biggest deer. He also learned how to shoot a bow right there because Jay Bars was the Olympic gold medalist at that time and had bow shooting out at 60 yards in 30 minutes. So, and then Dale Earnhardt was the NASCAR champion, and, he was winning the obstacle course on the four-wheeler, and, it could just go on and on. Wade Boggs was hitting baseballs to every sign out there. I mean, it was the biggest event of its kind, and we did it for 15 years, and that got us the exposure and got us the sponsors, and, we were able to start out with a really nice magazine. Because, we didn't have to start out as a newspaper or anything. We had 4-color ads because the sponsors want to be part of the Classic. So it was an interesting way to get started off, but basically my tennis career and the promotional side is what got this whole organization started.
Gotcha. So you started out playing tennis. Were you playing tennis in high school kind of thing? Or?
I played tennis as a junior. I was ranked number 1 in the state of Alabama. My dad was the Davis Cup coach way back, and was the vice president of the USTA, and was a world-class player in his day. And
gotcha.
I really couldn't play in his league, but I was first All-American at Auburn and All-SEC, and then, as I said, played the professional circuit in 73 or 4 through 78. So.
No kidding. So you're competitive by nature, it sounds.
Oh, absolutely. As I said, I played basketball and tennis all my life growing up, and my dad did the same thing. So it really, competitive would be would be the nice word, I guess.
That's the understatement. Gotcha.
Is the understatement. That's right.
Gotcha. So what was high school like? Were you a popular kid, or you in a clique, or you're athlete? Where were you?
Well, I kind of stayed out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? I just played sports. I was starting guard for the basketball team and did that, and I think sports kept me out of trouble. And I hunted. So I had all that, and I was very rare. I had braces on through my senior year in high school, so didn't have a whole bunch of dates going on in those times. I had a few, but it's kind of tough when you get braces on in the 10th grade and don't get them off to the 12th grade. So
one of those classic braces pictures from the old yearbook. I totally know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to lead the cheer. I used to lead the pep rallies and stuff, and you'd look out in the audience, everybody put aluminum foil in their mouth and smile. So they hurt me pretty good, but no, I really enjoyed high school, and as I said, and playing on the basketball team, I was captain of the basketball team, and I was the first one in our city here to win the state high school championship in tennis. So,
gotcha.
High school was a good run.
Were you voted most likely to succeed?
I don't remember all that part of it. I was voted captain of the team, though.
Gotcha. So could you attribute all of your athletic drive to where you are today? Do you think that's
absolutely?
Okay.
I've said that many a time because, I mean, basically we're in the advertising business, which is very, very competitive, and I think the words no and I can't were never in my vocabulary, when I first got started. There's been, 5 or 6 different people that's tried to start a deer hunting association, and I just wasn't going to let the words no and I can't come in there. And I guess I was just too dumb to figure out I couldn't do it, but I just kept going. And the drive, there's no such thing as 8 to 5. I mean, you got to sell something. You got people to have to believe in that you could pull something off, because really they didn't need to take a risk on me. I mean, I was going out selling this concept, and I was fortunate. I got 5 sponsors in the first year. And once I did the first classic, wow, I had 20 sponsors the next year. And then I had the folks from Gaylord come down from TNN to talk about doing the first hunting show ever on cable television since the old American Sportsman. So
sure.
All of that kind of got me in the door. And when the folks flew down here, they told me the things they didn't want to see on television. And before they even said that, I said, this is what we'll do. This is what we won't show. And back in those days, we won't show the impact. We won't show any blood. We won't show any field dressing. And we'll be very respectful of that. And that was the whole list they had right there. And they said, well, let's do our first hunting show. And we were the first one. We stayed out there for 5 years. It was the highest rated show on TNN across all networks. And it was just, I don't know if it was because of me and my acting for any reason, but it was just a lifestyle that was starving for that. They already had 5 fishing shows out there,
sure,
but there was no hunting shows.
What year was this, Jackie?
That was, I did the pilot in 1988, and then the first full series for Buckmasters was 89. So I think we're going into our 28th or 29th year of television. I think that's right.
That's crazy. So you started out with just you put an ad in Deer and Deer Hunting magazine. Did I hear you say that correctly?
No, what we were doing is that when you joined Buckmasters, you got a subscription to Deer and Deer Hunting magazine.
Gotcha. So
and I personally wrote a newsletter, a Buckmasters newsletter, which I stuck in each one of those. That was basically my tips and tactics and stuff.
Gotcha. All right.
And that's how we got started. We probably did 2,000 or 3,000 members, and then the Deer and Deer Hunting folks at that time, they decided they wanted to go another direction, and basically forced us to do our own magazine, or basically get out of it. And that's what we did. We did our own magazine.
Gotcha. Because you were getting
that came
big
out
enough,
in '87.
Yeah. Gotcha. So from there, you launched the Buckmaster magazine. That was like the foundation of your organization at that point.
Exactly. And then when, and we probably had, I used to go and sitting in all these trade shows. I'd have a little 8x10 selling Buckmaster members and this and that. And, I bet you we were up to, 5,000 or 6,000 or something. We doing that. And then once we went to television, that's where we just blew it out. We went from somewhere like 8,000 or 10,000 members to 50,000 or 60,000, then up to over 100,000 by the second year of television. So TV was just so powerful. Now, the whole TV thing has completely changed. I mean, you've got, all the cable television is fragmented now. I mean, we used to do 1 million households, in one airing. Now you're lucky to get 300,000 households in 6 areas just because it's fragmented. But it's also, with the Outdoor Channel, that's where we are and been there for years. You do have the hunting enthusiasts there. You know what I'm saying? Compared to where TNN, you might have just people. You'll have hunters, fishermen, and all that. So it's just more of a concentrated audience now. And now there's 360 something hunting shows and counting in 4 different hunting networks that go 24/7. So we kind of were the pioneer in that part of it. So it's just really interesting to see how TV, and we're still a player out there and still doing very well with it. So we're still excited about it. And I still have the passion. I really enjoy what we do. I still have a passion to hunt, and when I get tired of that, then I'll get out of it. But I still really have a big passion and a big fan base out there that enjoys what we do.
I suspect they'll be pulling you out of the tree stand when you're dead. That's what I'm guessing.
I really do. I'll tell you what, thank God for those hunter safety system vests and stuff, because the older I get, that 24-foot looks a little higher. So I like those ground blind hunts. But,
yeah, exactly.
I mean, we used to sit on 2x4s and stuff with little nails and climb up on the limbs. I remember all the early days and stuff, but safety is number one as far as I'm concerned. Boy, the technology, they've really taken that to the next level. So.
Gotcha. Now, back when TNN was pursuing the beginning of the Buckmasters TV show, and they were giving you rules, how did you feel about that when it first started?
I had no problem because, as I said, when they came to me, I gave them the rules that I said I wanted to do a show.
Yeah.
And they went, wow, look at the list. We were coming. See, everybody was afraid. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's a sensitive subject, And, you know, when you go on national television, I mean, you know, shooting a game animal is a personable thing. So, you know, the impact shot, you know, it can be offensive to some folks. So, and even now even with the Outdoor Channel, I mean, we're very, you know, conscious of, you know, how we address the animal and the things we say and the things we don't show. I edit for two people. I've said this, and I've done it for 28 or 29 years. I edit for the non-hunter, and I edit the show for the hunter, because there's a lot of people sitting on the couch watching the show. They might not hunt, might never hunt. But if they understand why we hunt, if they ever had to go to the voting booth, I want them to have a positive impression of watching our show and not being offended by anything.
Gotcha.
That's just been my rules.
Do you think that those rules should apply to others today, or is it these are your rules and everybody else can do their own thing?
Well, you know, this is America, okay? But I was fortunate that, as I said, I was the big fan of the American sportsman, Kurt Gowdy and Grits Crescent.
Oh, yeah.
And Grits was a good friend of mine and came to 2 or 3 of my Buckmasters. And, you know, again, I was headed a different direction, and he kind of brought me back, you know, and, you know, I take constructive criticism very well. And, you know, he explained to me when they went out and was doing a hunting show. Remember, we're only 10% of the population.
Right.
There's another 10% that are basically animal rights folks that are really trying to get rid of what we do. The other 80% of the folks, they don't hunt, they don't fish, but they will make the decisions on whether we will or we won't. So that is the thing that Grits really, you know, instilled in me, is that, you know, represent the sport in a positive way, show the positive aspects of what we do. You know, the role of the hunting sportsman, the fisherman, because without us, you don't have the abundant wildlife. It all comes from us. It doesn't come from any other group. You know, the Pittman-Robertson Act, all the taxes that we're spending on our hunting and fishing equipment goes back into conservation. You know, man is a predator. We're no different than a mountain lion or a bobcat or whatever. Without controlled or recreational hunting, we can't keep our wildlife populations in balance. So, you know, I am a very big believer of sharing our story, because we have a great story. And, you know, as I said, without the hunters and fishermen, you wouldn't have the wildlife. There's not one red cent that any animal rights group has ever put into conservation to save anything. And I said, if you let emotions and politics run our conservation departments, we will never have our sports, because the biologists are there. They're the ones that went to school. You know, here in Alabama, you can shoot a doe a day and you can shoot 3 bucks in a year. Okay, but say you go out west, you might only be able to take 1 deer. Well, that's all because of the populations, and the biologists tell the hunters what they need you to take to balance the herds and stuff. So I always say, let the professionals make the decisions. Keep emotion and politics out of conservation.
Right.
And we'll have we'll be able to pass this thing on to many generations.
Why do you think the anti-hunter doesn't realize that? Where does that?
I don't know if they're brought up and the households are brought up. They don't understand it, because I can promise you, and Jeff Oxford will tell you the same thing. You let me sit down without a bunch of folks screaming and hollering and, you know, all that, and you let me sit down with somebody that has common sense, and let me lay out the story of what a hunter and a fisherman is all about compared to an animal rights agenda. And I'll guarantee you 90% of them will go, golly, you're exactly right. I mean, the problem is they try to get in forums, but if you watch them, basically, they're always bouncing around. They got to raise money. That's what they're about. They've got to find emotional topics to raise money on. And if you've watched them, they've really kind of gotten out of whack. When they went against fishing, that really was like, wow, come on, guys. You know what I'm saying? They were dressed up as big fishes in front of the fishing tournaments, and you know, it's just you just got to watch their campaigns. You know, I would put out an olive leaf to them. I say, hey, why don't we take some of your money and let's try to put in some programs that'll help stop poaching. You know, you got so many people out there that are out there taking animals, you know, out of season, selling, you know, to the black market, animal parks and stuff like that. That's the things that we need help on. And you know, a lot of our conservation departments are underfunded. You know, I'd love to take some of that money and do that, but they've got their agenda. You know, they've stopped a few things. They've stopped mountain lion hunting and some things out west in the Pacific Northwest. Well, hey, the hikers and the bikers have been, you know, killed by mountain lions. Well, those things have been reversed now. You just can't let emotions and politics make decisions on wildlife conservation. And that's why we have the professionals in our conservation departments and our biologists. They're the ones that tell us what we need to do. Let them do their job. We all love wildlife. That's what they don't understand. We love the wildlife that we hunt. And we're willing to put our time, our effort, and our revenue to keep that going for generations. Right. That just bothers me that somebody doesn't see that. But it's our job at Buckmasters. That's what we try to do, is put the positive side on what we do as hunters. It's just not all about shooting a deer. You've got the family side of it. You can, spend family time. Look at the fastest growing thing out there, Jay, is women. We got more women now involved in the sport.
Right.
It used to be a men's only sport. Now the guys are inviting the gals. Well, now if you watch the media, we've got some of the best female outdoor celebrities out there on television, and they're such great role models to these young girls.
Absolutely.
They're going after the girl hunters now because that is their base. 80%
Right.
of the animal rights groups are women, and now their base is being torn because women are getting what we do, and they enjoy what we do. They're flocking to, getting out and shooting shotguns and shooting pistols and getting into the hunting scene. So that's where they're seeing their base eroding right now because it's cool for women. They get it. They understand it. So that's just my point of view.
Right. Yeah. It seems like perhaps that's the drive behind the Michelle Bachmann situation and the Kendall Jones situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, once I saw that, I went, go girls. Y'all keep rock and roll. I said, that's what they're after. They're intimidated. They got a pretty girl out there that have shot some animals right there. These girls get it, but that's their base because they don't want to see pretty girls out there hunting and fishing and showing other women, hey, well, wait a minute now, that's a fine young lady right there. She's a fine young lady in her community. She's involved as a cheerleader. She's this and that, and she's hunting. Well, hey, it must be okay.
Right.
I mean, hunters come from all walks of life. It's not just a bunch of old rednecks.
Absolutely. That's the funny thing is, and it's something I don't think we touch on enough, is that, sure, rednecks hunt and all that stuff, but
I'm a redneck. I hunt, but
absolutely.
I'm still a good old boy.
But there are a lot of people that I wouldn't necessarily put in the redneck category that hunt too.
Yeah.
A neighbor up the road, for example, shot a deer, and I found out the other day that he's hunted for years, and he was driving around with his deer on the top of his Subaru for quite a while.
Right.
But he is far from a redneck. He is not somebody I would consider that. And now you've got the women, and hunting is not gender specific.
Nope.
Not at all. So to see them being highlighted, but also targeted by the antis is that's a little disappointing. But
well, that's the reason. I mean, there's no question. That is the reason they're going after them. It's fine. And I talked to Melissa, and I just saw the news thing on the other young lady from Texas. But that is the reason. If you go all under the scenes, that is the number one reason, is that they're going after them because they're pretty young ladies.
Right.
And that's the base of the animal rights, are women.
Well, I hope that they turn that right around on them and just give it to them. That's really what
No
I'm
question,
hoping.
they will. Well, I mean, the industry already has. So,
Right.
as
Absolutely.
I said, if you look at how many female hosts there are out there on outdoor television, there's a bunch, and I'm very proud of all of them.
Oh yeah, me too. That good.
They're just such an inspiration to these young girls out there. And I always tell everybody now, it's a family sport. It's not a men's only. It's a men's club. It's time to open it up. And I've got a little girl. I never dreamed my little girl would ever want to go hunting. And
Right.
she finally said, Dad, I'd like to go. And I didn't make her. I didn't do anything, but she kind of got the bug. And when she was 12 or 13, shot a few deer, and then she started chasing the boys between 15 and 20. Then she came back at
Right.
22 years old and said, Dad, I'd like to go again. So, but she understands it. I mean, that's the thing, is that she understands it. And all these girls can be disciples out there to the other girls out there that maybe are hearing a different message.
Doesn't that make you feel great as a father to hear those words from your daughter?
It sure does.
Dad,
I tell
I
you
want to
what.
go hunting.
And I've sat with her, and she's been on TV with me, for 4 or 5 times on a hunt. And shoot, I was more nervous when that deer coming up with her, on the gun than I was, just pulling the trigger. But it was just to watch her be involved and get excited, and it's just priceless. You can't put a dollar figure on the feeling it is. But
Right.
It's a great sport. I love it, and I'm not afraid at any point to hide from what we do and our lifestyle, because I think it's a great lifestyle. The economic impact off the hunting and fish is in the billions. Okay, the folks that are employed in just our industry is close to 1 million people.
Right.
All the little small towns, and from the gas stations, to the little grocery stores. I mean, that's the economic impact, is in the billions. So that's all I'm saying. What we bring to the table is a industry that's bigger than 40 or 50 of the top 500 Fortune 500 companies. I mean, people, if you look at the just the economic side of it, so from the economic, the social, and the conservation, it's a no-brainer.
Right. So you got the inspiration for the name Buckmasters from Bassmasters. Is that kind of where it came from?
Right, exactly. Ray Scott is here, and
Yeah.
as I said, they've got a great organization. Still doing it. We do some business and do some things with the Bassmasters. Bass has been around close to 40 years now or more. and we've been around 28, 29 years now.
Right. Jackie, when did the scoring system for big rack bucks come into play with Buckmasters?
We did that. That's been a while back. Russell Thornberry brought that in, and it's an alternative scoring system that the Boone and Crockett and the Pope and Young guys do a great job and got a great program, but it's based on perfect symmetry. Well, a lot of these big deer that are just great bucks are penalized because of perfect symmetry. So we've just kind of given an alternative to get some more deer, that can't get recognized the other way. They can get recognized in our scoring system. And I think we've got over 14,000 entries in our full credit scoring system. So we basically said what God gave it to grow, we don't discount it. So it's full credit scoring system.
Right. Speaking to some of the Buckmaster scorers, I really believe that they are some of the most loyal people in the industry, and that they, just talking to them, they don't want to jeopardize their credentials with Buckmasters at all. They cherish that. How does that come from?
That's just a big deal. I mean, they believe in what we've been trying to accomplish, over the years, and that's just to be an association that is willing to spread the gospel about what we do. We've got our magazine, which, to me, I just get tickled when I see letters come in that, hey, I picked up a tip and I got my first deer from reading Buckmasters, or I watched the TV show over the years, and I picked something up right there, and I was able to get my first deer. I mean, that makes me more proud than anything. So It's more or less, surrounding yourself with good people and believing in the cause. And I think we've done that. Hey, we need to continue to do that. We need to get more of this 20 to 35-year-old folks, more involved now. As a crowd gets a little older, we got to get that new generation, in. A lot of these associations across the country. So
Gotcha.
I think that's our next big project, is really trying to attract that younger audience.
Gotcha. Do you consider yourself a celebrity?
I don't. It always flatters me that people come up and, would want to take a picture or want to, sign their hat or do this or that. I mean, it's just, I don't see myself until I get out in the airports and all that. I mean, I just watched the TV show here in the edit suite, and I don't know that many people have watched the show, but whether I'm in a restaurant or walking down the beach or somebody comes up, man, I love the show. We've been watching it, and most of them go, yeah, I've been watching it since I was in diapers. And I was going, well, it's been on a while. But no, I put my pants on like everybody else. I just happen to be on television.
Right. It's, Buckmaster's been around. It's ingrained in the American society, especially relative to hunting. And I think I hope it goes on for a very, very long time. It's such an important role model in what we do as hunters. So definitely hope you just keep it going for a long time. Well,
I appreciate it. And I just got something started in the members of the association. So we hope anybody listening today, if they're not a member, we'd love to have them. I mean, it's what we've tried to accomplish over the years and with our various programs is, the thing that I'm most proud of is our disabled program. We've taken now close to 7,000 disabled folks to the field and bought them adaptive equipment. And that comes just from the strength of the membership.
What's the name of that program?
That's the Buckmasters American Deer Foundation.
Okay.
And part of that has our life hunts, which is our hunts for our terminally ill kids, our disabled hunters, which could be adults and kids. And then we've got our new program called Taking Heroes Hunting. That's our wounded soldiers, and we've taken close to 200 soldiers out right now. So those are the things personally that I really have gotten into. I used to work with disabled kids when I was in college, when I was playing tennis and stuff. So I got a chance to come back and be involved, in a different way, but do it through the hunting way, and to see these kids come in and, just to know what they've gone through personally in their life, and just to see the smiles on their faces, and us being able to find them adaptive equipment and them to be able to get back to the outdoors and shoot their first deer. I mean, it's just priceless. And Those are the shows that people really, really understand what Buckmasters is about. So, sure, we got the magazine and all that, but this is what we stand for, is to be able to help people in need and share the message out there. But that's been a positive. Our Project Venison program, Jay, we started in 1991. We fed over 5 million people, either through our, venison donations or our Buckmasters Expo, where we have a canned donation to come in the door. So
that's incredible.
We just try to be very community, minded, and just let people know that hunters are good people that come from all walks of life, and they're not what some folks try to make us out to be.
So when you started the magazine back in the 80s, did you ever envision it becoming what it is today?
I had no clue. I did not have a clue to know, where we could take it. And, to be over 200,000 members is, wow, that's amazing.
Right.
and we got 20,000 life members that, have been part of us. But you want to be part of something that you're proud of and stands for something. So, and I've always tried to say that. I mean, we want to be there for the deer hunter. We want to be able to entertain them. We want to be able to educate them, and we want to be able to stand up for them, whether it's for our hunting rights, whether it's our gun rights, and know they got a voice right there. And we, with the old Buckmasters Classic, to bring in the Bo Jacksons, the Dale Earnhardts, the Foxworthys. That was our way of bringing in, because the animal rights were going to get all these movie stars. We were trying to go get the ball players and the guys that really resonated to the outdoor public out there to say, hey, I'm Jeff Foxworthy, I hunt. I'm Bo Jackson, I like to hunt. Well, how many people were influenced by bringing them to the Buckmasters? So That's what we've tried to do over the years is get our influencers out there to the masses and tell them that hunting and fishing is cool.
Right. What year was the first Buckmaster Classic?
1987.
1987. And you went from organizing tennis events to organizing the Buckmaster Classic. How did you go about getting celebrities to come to the event when it was the first of its kind, really?
Right. It's kind of funny. I had a few contacts, and then there's a good friend of mine named Tony Adams who had heard about the event, and he used to play professional football, so he knew a lot of the football guys. And I had a baseball player, Jody Davis, used to play for Chicago Cubs. Mm-hmm. He'd heard about it and called me, and then he said, well, look, I know Rick Sutcliffe, and that's when the Cubs had won their pennant that year. And then they knew Dale Earnhardt hunted with them, so Dale called me, and then Bo Jackson's person heard about it, so they called me. So we had about, 5 or 6 celebrities the first year, and they had so much fun they wanted to come back. I said, well, hey, here's the deal. You can come back if you bring me another celebrity, So they started recruiting the celebrities out there that hunted, and we got country music involved, and, we had NASCAR involved, we had motion picture involved, we had professional baseball. Wade Boggs is a partner of Buckmasters, and wow. Wade knew all the baseball players. So it was just kind of a word of mouth, because it was a fun event, but most of all, they knew what the event was about, and they wanted to be part of it and just say, hey, I'm not afraid to go out there and say I hunt. I'm proud of it. So
right.
That's how I got started.
That's excellent.
And the only reason it ended is because we lost a lot of our celebrities. A lot of them have passed away. I mean, we lost Dale and Davey and Jim Varney and stuff, but when the Make-A-Wish Foundation quit honoring hunts for kids, that's when we stepped in and said, hey, we'll just do a different format, and that's when we stepped over and started doing that.
Gotcha. Do you think it could be redone today in a different way, or do you think that you're going to continue on with the where the Make-A-Wish wouldn't support
Well, that's
the hunts?
pretty special. I mean, That one's pretty special to my heart. I don't know if we could do two. I mean, I guess I tell you the problem is now, because Saturday was the media day, it's really tough to get the wrestlers and a lot of the folks scheduled in. That was my hardest problem, is scheduling these folks. But this thing is really, taking on its own deal with a terminal hunt in our soldiers hunt. So and we do have celebrities in for that. I've had David Robertson, the pitcher for the Yankees. I had Craig Kimball down here. So we still do have a few celebrities. We just don't have as many. Gotcha.
You've been successful creating everything that you've done, from tennis to hunting and television show. Have there been any failures along the way that you can point at?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we fail every day at something, but you just bounce back up. As I said, we're in the advertising business, and it's been tough here the last few years, no question about it. But, we've got a great product, and we still have folks out there that, want to advertise and want to be part of it. I remember we did a country music album one time, and it didn't do very good. We kind of got into the music.
Gotcha.
We got in the music business, which is not our business, so we got out of that as quick as we got in it. So,
right.
But, we tried a few things here or there, maybe a book here that didn't work or something. But, you try to learn from your mistakes and listen, and hopefully you don't stump your toe too many times. But right.
It's better to try and fail than to not try at all.
Oh, absolutely. I remember when I came out with the Jackie Bushman show. Oh, my gosh. And now with the social media and stuff. I mean, I wanted to do a talk show, and I incorporated a game. I had a game show, which was called Who's the Buckmasters?
Yep.
I did a deal kind of like Candid Camera, where we were doing pranks. We had a guest on there, which I interviewed, and we went hunting and stuff. So I had a live audience, and we did that. Oh, my gosh. I mean, you would have thought they were going to run me out of town by listening to some of the people on social media. Oh, my gosh. And then to end up, we won fan favorite, the Golden Moose fan favorite for the show that year. So
that's crazy.
The one thing I've learned, you just can't please everybody. And, I'm a big pet peeve. I want to please everybody. I want everybody to be a fan and stuff. But
right.
That's just not the case. But I wake up every morning, and the good Lord gives me a chance to get back up and just go do the best I can, and hope people like what we do. But if they don't, they've got other choices out there as far as outdoor television and stuff. We got some good people out there doing some good work. So I just want to be part of it, and I feel like I'm like Tom Watson. I was just watching last night. They were on the Golf Channel. He almost won the British Open at 59 years old. He was one putt away, but I mean, he could still compete on the tour at that age. I feel the same way. I still have a passion, and I know got all these young guns coming in. They're doing a great job, but I can still compete out there. So. And I still have the passion to do the outdoor television.
I like to hear that competitive edge still inside you. I can hear it coming out. That's excellent.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. So the other programs that you have going on, you're doing the life hunts, you're doing the kids, taking the heroes hunting. What else you got going on?
Well, that's the main part, and that takes a lot of organization. We have like 25 to 30 banquets, one-nighters, that we raise money for those projects, and we just do one TV show on our terminal hunt, but that kind of gets the appetite for people across the country to get involved in our local chapters and stuff. So that's a big deal. We got the Buckmasters Expo. That's our big promotional event that we do. We started it out in the Georgia Dome. We had a live country concert. We had a professional archery tournament, had an amateur archery tournament in the top part of the Georgia Dome, and then we had all the 300 exhibitors there on the main floor right there. So that's a big event, and then we brought it back here to Montgomery, Alabama. So it's been going on 20 years. We'll have 30 to 40,000 people that'll come in from all over the country to be part of that for the weekend, and that's one of our big events for the year. So we're always excited about that. It's the third weekend of August, and we still got country music acts, but I got out of that business as far as having charging tickets and all that stuff.
Sure.
We got Travis Tritt this year. Travis was with us 20 years ago, so
Gotcha.
We're bringing Travis back. So
what about the Buckmasters Indoor 3D? What's that all about?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a cool deal. I invented that game right there. In the Bassmasters, if they got fishing tournaments that are doing that, and they have a catch and release program. So I don't believe in any tournaments out there, they're shooting animals for prize or prize money. I just think that's just not the way to go. But I was watching the movie Dirty Harry, and they were going through that police time, so that friend foe deal. They're popping up targets, and you either shoot it or you don't shoot it. So I was sitting there one night and I said, wow, I want to take the mechanism that's popping those, burglars up or whatever it was, and I want to put a deer on that thing and pop it up. So
right.
I got to the office Monday and I tracked it down and I called it. I think it was in Michigan. And I told him, I said, look, don't hang up. I want to put a deer target on that thing and pop it up. Can you make it happen? So make a long story short, we got it up there and they got that deer on there and they got it where it could pop up. And then we kind of went through having to figure out, I wanted a black hit sensor pad, basically in the vitals. So if the bullet or the arrow hit it, it made it drop. If it missed it, it kept the target up. So it was kind of like a pinball, kind of game. So we went a long way, and this is where Bo Jackson, I always say this, the Bo Jackson really helped me invent the game, even take it to the next level, because the way we had it the first time, the whole target was hit censored, and if you hit the target, it would drop. And we went out there with black Sharpie magic markers, and we did the vital zone. If you hit right there, it'll be 10 points. If you shot him in the middle of the body, it'd be 1. If you shot him in the rear end, it'd be 9. You know what I'm saying? So the problem was Bo Jackson was up during the Classic in the shooting competition. He shot, and the target went down. People were clapping and all that. Well, my scorer went out there, and there wasn't a hole in the target. And he came back to me and said, there's not a hole in the target. I said, well, you just saw it, and everybody else saw the target go down. He said, well, I'm telling you, not a hole in it. I said, well, you tell Bo Jackson that he didn't hit that target. I wasn't even mad enough to tell him. Well, when we went back on camera and reviewed it, Bo had hit the dirt about 50 yards in front of it, and the dirt had spewed out on the target and made it drop. And I said, this isn't going to work. So Bo got me with seeing that on camera. I went to an electrical engineer in Tampa, Florida, to develop a black hit sensor pad. And that's when we started putting a physical black hit sensor pad on that. And that's when, if it struck it, it would, either drop. If it missed it, it would stay up. And that's how we got it started. And we started outdoors. We had rifle, pistol, and bow. And we did that for years, but you just couldn't draw the fans out there. It was too hot, and you couldn't see. So in 1991, I took it indoors and had all these synthetic plants and banners and all this going on. And it's the world's largest and biggest prize money tournament now. And you got the lights, the smoke, and the whole 9 yards. Now it's a big event. But all of that came from watching that movie Dirty Harry.
That's excellent. That sounds like just a full afternoon of entertainment right there.
It really is, because the crowd gets in there and they walk in and go, archery tournament, boy, that's like watching paint dry. Not this one, because the targets are popping up. And the way I put it, and it's very easy visible, you're at home plate. You just put yourself in a baseball arena. You're at home plate standing on a tree stand. And I've got all these targets out here behind different scenes. There's a swamp scene, there's a cornfield, there's a winter scene. You just go, all these scenes are laid out in front of you, with each scene lit. And, for a hunter, you got to have good recognition, good reflexes, and you got to be able to handle the pressure, buck fever. And that's what goes on. So the shorter the targets, the 15-yard target might come up, and your peripheral vision, you might be looking down at the 60-yard. So if you don't see that thing come up, and then it's only going to stay up for 4 or 5 seconds. The further the target, the longer it stays up, the more points. And we got running targets that come through there. It's a pretty cool game. So we've got all the athletic part of being a hunter put into a simulated game.
Very, very cool. I love that. That's a brilliant idea, and it sounds like you had some great input in there from other people.
And we've got a lot of great sponsors, and these good old boys can win $15,000 check from us, and then their sponsors will match it. They can make $50,000 to $100,000 off the weekend. That's
awesome. Very cool. In 1987 was when you started the Buckmaster TV show, correct?
That's right.
Now,
the pilot came out in 1988. The magazine came out in 87.
Okay. The pilot was in 88. And back then, TV, and I want to kind of go back to what you talked about TV a little bit. There were very few channels to watch in the 80s. The cable revolution was just kind of beginning. You're leaving the rabbit ears genre of TV, new television sets, new cable systems, and even with the advent of TBS and the Braves, we used to be on every channel. I remember out of Atlanta. TV has changed quite a bit since then, and you called it basically fragmented today.
Right.
Where does it go from here? With the advent of social media, with the advent of the Roku and the Apple TV and YouTube, where you can produce your own TV show in a sense, how is that going to play into the outdoor television genre?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Nobody's ready to pay for. It hadn't happened yet. Pay on demand or whatever it's called.
Right.
That hadn't happened because there's too much free content out there. So
right.
I think everybody's ready to go there. I don't see the networks going anywhere anytime soon. I hope they don't. They give us a vehicle and promote us very well. The Outdoor Channel has done a wonderful job, and you got other networks too. So, but I don't know. It's going to be an interesting deal to see how it all works and how they advertise. Outdoor television is all based on the advertisers. Where the advertisers think it's going to go. So, digital is still to be determined. As far as digital advertisers, and are they getting the response they want? So it's all driven by the advertising. So it'll be interesting to see, what's the next move. We've got our website. We're doing, stuff on there and selling some digital advertising, but it's not everybody's bought into it. The digital advertising to me in our industry reminds me of 28 years ago trying to sell television advertising in a print industry.
Interesting.
It was kind of like,
right.
It was like, you're going to do what? It's going to cost this to have a commercial? I said, yeah. And, but it was like pulling teeth. But now, everybody, wants to be part of television. But, it's something we looked at, but people still make their purchasing decision off print advertising, and
right.
That's the number one, and it's by 2 to 1. And then you've got, television and internet now being pretty close to being the same. So I don't know. I just watch it. I'm part of it. We're ready to go, in different directions. We do Facebook. They even got me tweeting out there, so I even got people following me on
Really?
tweets. Oh, God.
Got you
it's
on
like
Twitter.
Glasses. I fought glasses until I was 40. It's like, when you get 40, you'll need glasses. All right,
Right.
give me some glasses. So, but the only way I could communicate with my kids is to start texting and stuff. And
Right.
then, I'm doing the Twitter stuff. And, I don't know if they like what I say, but I'm at least trying. So I'm just trying to keep up. I don't want to be one of those guys that get left in technology. So
Right. It sounds like you've always kind of kept your eye on the ball, so to speak, of the cutting edge of technology. You want to be in the forefront where the delivery systems were going to be.
Well, I've always tried to hire the folks that kind of know what's going on there and just try to be there when it's ready. A lot of folks, the print magazine will go away. It's all going to go. Well, maybe it has in some other businesses. Maybe your newspapers, have gone, that. But 98% of the folks still want their Buckmasters print magazine. Okay, so
Right.
until they tell me they want a digital magazine, I will give them a digital magazine. But right now, 98.7 want their print magazine.
Interesting. Is there so still the membership still wants the print?
They want the print.
Interesting.
No, hey, we've got it. It's available, digitally. But I mean, I'm just saying that's our industry and our consumers, 5 to 10 years behind. It seems like on when things start going across.
Yeah. I think that the magazine has kind of fallen a bit, but there's still something very special about a magazine. I'm more apt to hold on to it a lot longer than I ever have. I like it's because it's different now. Most of the stuff is being consumed online or on TV, but there's something special about a magazine because it sits around. It's different than anything else I've got.
And it's in more offices than you can imagine.
Right.
And we call the man cave office. There's a very popular spot sitting there. And then you've got the hunting camps where it can be, and then at home. So
right. And when you're going online, you can get pieces of information. You can read a quick article. That's all about quick data input. You can sit back and enjoy a magazine, and it's just a different way to consume things. But I don't think it'll ever truly go away.
I don't see it, and not in my lifetime compared to the percentage that want their print magazine. We were all prepared because you listen to a bunch of folks. Oh yeah, it's all going to go away. And I have seen newspaper stuff go away because newspaper is old news with the news part of it. I can understand that, and them having to go digital because by the time you pick up your morning paper, you've already read it on the internet of what happened or something.
Right,
so,
that's news of the day, not the stuff. The stuff in a magazine like with Buckmasters. That stuff is kind of timeless in many ways.
Exactly. And the pass around of the magazines is still out there.
Right.
So. Now, hey, we are still trying to figure out new ways and to come up with more valuable content for this younger audience. If that's the direction they're headed, we're ready for that.
Ready.
But right now we're there, but the print's still there.
You've got in your research and development, that's kind of been incorporated.
Yep.
Excellent. Well, Jackie, this has been awesome. I love listening to you. You have tons of great knowledge and insight, and you're a brilliant man. And thank you for taking some time to be on the Big Buck podcast.
You're quite welcome. As I said, call me at any time. And if somebody's listening, I put my pants on like everybody else. I just happen to be on television. We got a great organization. We would love for you to be part of it because it means something to be part of Buckmaster. We're doing some good stuff out there, and I can't please everybody. I know not everybody's a fan of the show, but I mean, by God, I'm like Will Rogers. I hadn't met a man that I don't like, and I always keep that, and I hope people remember that's what we do here at Buckmasters, and remember me. I still have a passion for it. But thank you for letting me be on the show, and hey, anything I can do, all right.
Those are some great words to live by. Where can we reach you? Where can we still subscribe, become members? How do we reach out to you?
The easiest way is to go on Buckmasters.com.
Okay.
And there's a membership right there. You can join right online.
Excellent. And then that'll lead us to all the other sites too, like the Facebook.
Exactly. You got everything there on Buckmasters.com. And we would love to have everybody as a member and tell your family and your friends about us.
Excellent. And congratulations on your 75,000th like on Facebook, by the way. I did see that the other day.
Well, as I said, we just started growing that. I didn't know much about it, but I got a gentleman back there. Boy, he is taking that thing to the next level. So that's cool. I mean, I'm learning more about this social media as you and I talk. So
yeah,
I'll figure it out before too long. So, but I'm tweeting, and this weekend I basically shoot the ultimate. As a kid, I watched Fred Bear shoot a grizzly with a bow, and I said I would love to be able to do that. Well, this weekend on the Jackie Bushman show, I got my first grizzly with a bow.
Whoa,
so
that's intense.
That's my World Series ring.
Yeah, I would say so. That's I don't know. That's someday. I'm not sure I'm ready for it yet, but that's intense hunting right there.
Exactly, it's a whole different game. But
do you have any? If you had one tip to share with a fellow hunter, what would it be?
People ask me that. I mean, there's so many tips out there to be a better hunter. But if I only had one, you got to get the wind direction right. That is the number one key in whitetail deer hunting. And I learned that as a person in a hunting camp when I used to just go. I already had my mind made up where I was hunting the next morning. And the old veteran there in the club, he never made his mind up till he got up that morning and checked the wind direction. And once I started doing that, I started becoming successful. And the wind is the number one key in whitetail deer hunting. If you're asking me for one tip, check that wind direction. That'll tell you where you can go hunt. It'll tell you how to approach your stand, how to get out of your stand. But if you try to fight the wind with a whitetail deer, you're going to lose, and you're wasting your time, because time is very special to a hunter who only can maybe hunt on the weekend and stuff. So set your stands up with different wind directions so you at least have places to go hunt on a particular wind. Wind's number one in the game.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm writing that down right now. Wind. Always remember the wind. Thank you for joining us on the Big Buck Podcast, and we'd love to talk to you again, because I feel like we just barely touched on a lot of stuff.
My pleasure.
Thanks. Well, Dusty, I just can't thank Jackie enough for joining us on the Big Buck Registry, and I'm glad we introduced him to the podcast interview style of things. It's good to be the first again, you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just an honor.
Just an honor to have Jackie Bushman on our show. Somebody that means so much to the hunting industry, and somebody that really formed and created this industry when it really wasn't much of anything. TV shows, media, magazines, and he's changing everything now. He's getting into the social media and all that kind of stuff. So kudos to Jackie for staying ahead of the game, just the way he's always been. He likes to win. He's a winner.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And what Jackie's got going is phenomenal. Buckmasters is doing a lot, and I'll tell you this much, he don't like snakes.
Right.
He's feared of snakes.
I like that there's so many people that are loyal to him, not only for his community, but like the scoring people who score the big racks. Those people are some of the most loyal individuals I think I've ever met, including our good friend Ed Waite.
Yeah, and Ed's been with him a long time, and just recently rounded off 1,000 entries into the Buckmasters trophy record book.
That's crazy. I mean, they love that job, and just thank you so much to Jackie and everybody at Buckmasters for doing what you do and what you've done for the industry itself. It's paved the way for so much more. It's very cool. Dusty, what's going on at Chubby Tines with the Chubby Tines tip of the week?
I got a pretty good tip here. This is one I use, and it's really made a difference. And I'm going to throw this out there because it's a factual. This is a fact tip.
Okay.
If you got your trees, you got your trail camera set right up where you either got a mineral lick out or a mineral block. Sometimes that having it too close to your mineral, to your food source. It's one thing to be on a food plot where you got a wide open area. You got a plot in front of the camera that's pretty wide open. But if you got deer coming down a main trail, a travel corridor, and you got a trail camera set right up on a mineral block or a food, if you're too close, the mature bucks are going back out on you.
Gotcha.
The modern cameras are pretty slick, but you're still walking in there. You still got to check that camera. You're still in the area quite often. Maybe just back it up 15 yards. Get it down the trail a little bit that they're normally walking in on. Just back it away and don't get in that comfort zone.
Okay. Check. It's on my list of things not to screw up this fall. Awesome.
Yeah, just something that trial and error that, I used to set right up on my mineral block.
Yeah.
Or on my, if I dump mineral out on the ground, I used to set the camera right over it. Well, I'd have a mature buck come in, but he'd always stay 15, 20, 25 yards out.
Okay.
I'd catch him on the camera, but I didn't get the close-up where I could actually see exactly what that buck was. Everybody says, I'll put it right on top of it so you can see what's going on. Well, yeah, that's great. But if you got a buck that's a little bit skittish, he knows something ain't right.
Okay.
So, just back it away. Get it out of the comfort zone. Let him come in and be comfortable, either at a salt lick, a mineral block, or a corn pile, whatever you got out. Just back your camera up a little bit. It may help you.
Good idea. Awesome. All right. Chubby Tines tip of the week.
What's going on at the Big Buck Registry, Jay?
Well, we had that wonderful letter from Mark Simon earlier to tell us that he's had a good interaction with Carrie and Billy down there in Iowa. So that was pretty cool. I was just a guest on the Carrie Z podcast, talking about other podcasts that we listen to, anything from hunting podcasts to rock and roll podcasts to how to podcasts. Kind of cool.
So this is like your second or third time with Carrie Z, right?
Second. Yep.
I'm jealous. Like, Carrie, what's up?
I don't know. She, I think she needed a male voice, not only for the show, but she wanted a commercial done. So I said, yeah, absolutely. I'll do that for you. No problem.
Right on.
Yep. So hopefully that at least is some other big things down the road. But I'm thinking maybe I should do some voiceovers. for some other people. Hey, it was my first voice acting gig. It's like, all right, I'm a voice actor now.
So you're ready to do it some more?
I am. I'm ready to continue on.
Awesome.
With my voice acting career. So, but how can we reach you over at Chubby Tines Outdoors?
Facebook.com/Chubby Tines Outdoors. And I got something else I'm working on right now. Dusty Hunt Neck.
I knew you were going to say that. This is the uncensored version of Dusty Phillips.
Yeah, just trying some new things out, and everybody says that, every time I talk to you, Dusty, my face hurts from laughing. It caught up with me. I kept hearing that. It kept coming back around. Like I'd hear it. You're the funniest guy I've ever known. You're the craziest guy I've ever met. So why not start a page called Dusty Hunt Neck? You might be a hunt neck. It's a comedian page, and check me out on Facebook, Dusty Hunt Neck.
Dusty Hunt Neck. All right. Check out Dusty, the uncensored Dusty Phillips. That's awesome. Let's see, at Big Buck Registry, a couple places you can go. The most popular thing to do at the Big Buck Registry right now is to submit a deer picture. I didn't think it would last this long, to be honest. I didn't think there were enough people that still hadn't submitted their buck and were late into the summer season. I didn't think we'd get enough pictures coming out of the fall before to actually continue to post 5 bucks a day. But we do. And I've got enough bucks to lead us all the way into the next deer season.
That's $5.
$5, baby.
Every day.
Every single day. $5. And so if you want to do that, the best place to go to is bigbuckregistry.com/mybuck.
You can check out the $5 menu right there at the Big Buck Registry. Menu.
All the instructions are right there for you to use and follow the instructions. That's my hint. If you want to get your picture submitted, because if you don't follow the instructions, I apologize, but we just don't have time to constantly write back to tell you how to do it right. So just follow the pattern, see what everybody else is doing, do what they're doing, and chances are your deer will get on the page as well. As far as like websites, bigbuckregistry.com, 724-613-2825. Leave some feedback about this show or any other one. And if you'd like to follow us on iTunes, www.bigbuckregistry.com/iTunes, or on Stitcher, www.bigbuckregistry.com/STITCHER. I think that's it, Dusty.
Awesome. Check out Big Buck Registry. Check out Chubby Tines Outdoors. Dusty Hunt Neck.
I'm Jay Scott.
And I'm Dusty Phillips.
This is the Big Buck Registry's Big Buck Podcast. See you next week.
Can't wait.